After a successful 18-month pilot in New Zealand, consumer goods giant Unilever is expanding its trial of 4-day working week to Australian employees now.
The multinational company Unilever opens its new manufacturing plant in the Philippines, with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. joining Friday's event.
Unilever is one of the world's largest consumer goods companies, with brands like Dove, Lipton, and Ben Way Jerry's. But behind the company's squeaky clean image lies a dark secret. For decades, Unilever has been accused of human rights abuses, environmental damage, and animal cruelty. In 2012, for example, the company was exposed for using child labor in its palm oil plantations. And in 2018, Unilever was sued by the US government for allegedly using deceptive marketing practices to sell its skin lightening products. But that's not all. Unilever has also been linked to deforestation, water pollution, and the destruction of indigenous communities. In 2021, the company was accused of contributing to the climate crisis by failing to reduce its greenhouse gas emission. Unilever has denied all of these allegations, but the evidence is mounting. Is Unilever really the ethical company it claims to be, or is it just another corporate giant that puts profits ahead of people and the planet? Unilever, a giant in the consumer goods industry, has faced serious accusations of unethical practices related to palm oil production. These practices have resulted in deforestation and the destruction of crucial habitats. Forests play a vital role in our world, acting as the Earth's lungs and helping to maintain our climate. Unfortunately, Unilever's palm oil production has contributed to the destruction of these essential ecosystems, leading to the loss of various plant and animal species and the displacement of local communities. This deforestation and habitat destruction have also been linked to an increase in carbon emissions, making the problem of climate change worse. Furthermore, Unilever's palm oil production has been connected to human rights violations. The company has been accused of exploiting workers using child labor and violating the rights of indigenous communities. These harmful practices have been observed in countries like Indonesia and Malaysia, which are major palm oil producers. Despite Unilever's commitment to responsible sourcing practices, it has faced criticism for not taking sufficient actions to address these problems. Unilever has set targets to reduce its carbon emissions and shift to renewable energy sources, but critics argue that the company has not done enough to address the root causes of the problem. The environmental effects of Unilever's palm oil production are concerning, and the company must take more decisive actions to tackle this issue. Unilever, a major player in the consumer goods industry, has faced serious allegations related to its palm oil production practices. These practices have harmed the environment by causing deforestation and habitat destruction, and they have also been linked to human rights violations. Additionally, Unilever's palm oil production has contributed to carbon emissions and climate change. To address these pressing issues, Unilever must take more effective measures and demonstrate a stronger commitment to responsible and sustainable practices in its palm oil production. Child labor is a serious problem in the cocoa industry, where many children are made to work on cocoa farms in Western Africa. The Bureau of International Labor Affairs keeps a list of products and where they come from that it believes are made by children or forced labor. Cocoa from certain areas in Western Africa is on this list. Unfortunately, Unilever, one of the biggest companies in the cocoa industry, is involved in this issue. Unilever has tried to deal with child labor in its supply chain. They've worked with organizations like the International Cocoa Initiative, IC, and promised to get all their cocoa in a sustainable way by 2020. But there are big challenges like how vast their supply chain is and how hard it is to make sure labor rules are followed in far-off places. Some people also say that Unilever hasn't done enough, accusing them of not checking things thoroughly and not being clear about what they're doing. Getting rid of child labor from Unilever's supply chain is a hard task that requires many different actions. It means dealing with the main reasons for child labor, like poverty and not having access to school. It also means setting rules about labor, making sure they're followed, and having ways to watch over things. It needs governments, groups, and companies to work together. Unilever has said they want to work on this issue, but it'll take a lot of work and investment to really get rid of child labor from their supply chain. Unilever a big company that makes lots of everyday products, has gotten a lot of criticism for using too much plastic in its packaging, which adds to the global problem of plastic waste. Even though Unilever has said it wants to stop plastic pollution, it still puts its products in plastic containers. Many people are worried because Unilever hasn't found better ways to package things that are good for the environment. People who criticize Unilever say the company needs to do more to solve this problem. Unilever's use of so much plastic packaging has caused a big part of the plastic waste problem, with millions of tons of plastic ending up in landfills and the oceans every year. This overuse of plastic packaging has hurt the oceans and the creatures that live in them. Plastic waste harms ocean ecosystems, and Unilever's products, packaged in plastic, have been found in oceans and on beaches worldwide. Unilever's failure to take strong action to deal with plastic waste has caused damage to marine life and the health of our oceans. Environmentalists are worried about what Unilever is doing and want the company to take bigger steps to reduce its plastic waste. Unilever knows that plastic waste is bad for the environment and has said it wants to make less of it. But people say Unilever isn't doing enough to stop plastic pollution. Some people even think that Unilever's actions don't match what the company says it believes in. Unilever has a responsibility to deal with the plastic waste problem, not only because it's the right thing to do for the environment, but also because it matters to its customers and other people who care about the planet. If Unilever takes bigger steps to make less plastic waste and uses more eco-friendly options, it can help make the world cleaner and better for the future. Unilever, one of the world's biggest consumer goods companies, has faced criticism for its use of animals in product testing. This has sparked controversy and received backlash from both animal rights advocates and consumers. Unilever has a history of testing its products on animals, whether directly through its suppliers or with the help of third parties. This has raised concerns about animal well-being and the ethics of using animals to test cosmetics. While animal testing used to be the standard method for checking product safety, there are now alternative methods available that can provide reliable and accurate results without causing harm to animals. Unilever has recognized the need for alternative testing methods and has been working on developing and using them since the 1980s. These alternatives include things like computer modeling, lab testing on cells instead of animals, and studies involving willing human volunteers. Unilever has been a leader in promoting these alternatives and has even called for a global ban on using animals to test cosmetic products. They have also partnered with organizations like Humane Society International to push for the adoption of non-animal testing methods. However, despite these efforts, Unilever is not yet completely free of animal testing and still uses it in some cases. In summary, Unilever has faced criticism for various unethical practices across its operations. These include issues like destroying habitats and violating human rights in palm oil production, child labor in its supply chain, promoting unhealthy foods, unrealistic beauty standards, and reinforcing gender stereotypes in its marketing. Unilever's use of plastic packaging has also contributed to the global plastic waste problem, harming oceans and marine life. Additionally, their history of animal testing has raised concerns despite their efforts to reduce it. As consumer awareness grows, it becomes increasingly important for companies like Unilever to take responsibility and make substantial changes for a more sustainable and ethical future. If you like the video, then do share it and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon.